What is up, everybody? We are back with another Marvel Rivals Marvel Zombies video. And I know a lot of you are still struggling with Nightmare 4 and you're trying to beat it, so I wanted to go over Blade and how to beat Nightmare 4 with Blade because he is hands down the best character to beat Nightmare 4 with, all right? The other ones you can kind of dabble with. Sometimes you can use them as like, a fourth person, but you always need Blade as the core of the team if you're hoping to win, from my experience and from a lot of other people's experience from what I see. So I want to go over just like his build, his playstyle, and what you're looking to do to beat Nightmare 4 and get that sweet, sweet new title, all right? So let's go over it. First, let's go over Blade and what makes him so strong. Like primarily, from my experience, one of the things that makes him so strong is that he has built-in lifesteal. Everybody else, you are hunting for like a vampiric card to try to get some lifesteal, but Blade has it built in. So you can still pick up cards, which I'll go over the cards in just a second, but they're useless because he has built-in lifesteal. But the other thing too is he has his alternate fire, his little like shield block thing, and that's kind of cool too. It comes in handy against the Namor fights because when he puts you in the bubble, you can actually get out of it. When he throws his little whales at you, like the ultimate ability, you can actually block that as well. So it's all pretty useful. So on this main screen, first off, you're gonna be using his sword the whole time. You're never gonna use a shotgun. So all of these are kind of useless. Like if you want, you can like select something. Like I think I just randomly selected this. Also, like the dash, like as you can see, it's all if Blade is wielding his gun, if Blade is wielding his gun, fire a hook, if the gun shoots. Don't use his gun. Don't ever use his gun. You're gonna sit in your lifesteal mode with the sword. That's all you're gonna do. For the ultimate ability, I like the concussive strike. So what this does is the ultimate ability, Light of Strike, can stun enemies. It's kind of useful in the beginning, the earlier rounds. So we'll go over the cards in a second, but with Blade, you're primarily gonna be building the red cards, which is damage. And once you get to level 2 of those, so once it's at 60 points, you no longer do the dash anymore, okay? You stay in one spot, and this will get you killed, okay? So once you hit that second level with your reds, you are never, ever, ever, ever gonna use your ult again. You can use it very sparingly, all right? There's a couple times where you might be getting chased by a horde and you need an escape, or maybe you need to back up your team, and you can just kind of like pop your ult and stun like a horde of enemies. Like it only works on like the smaller zombies, not the big ones. But for the most part, you're not gonna use your ult. Whenever I'm playing with like randoms and they start using their ult in the later rounds, I'm like, do not use your ult. Do not, it is a death trap. And like, for some reason that doesn't click for people. They keep using their ult, they keep dying. It's just like, just stop it, all right? So as far as your points, just put them all in red, okay? There is some stuff with the Daywalker Dash. I'll talk about that build a little bit, but from my experience, just go all in on your reds, okay? So you're gonna increase the attack speed, you get a health boost, you increase your damage, what's this? You increase the attack range, that's very good. And then the last one's your lifesteal ratio, which is, man, you're eventually just attacking so fast that you're going to have solid lifesteal. All right, so let's go over what cards you're going to be hunting down. All right, so I'll come back to the general blessings in a second, but let's focus on these main ones. All right, so you wanna like get in some reps with Blade because you wanna start memorizing these. There's a couple of methods, like my buddy who I've been playing with, he looks for the names of the cards. I pretty much just memorize like what the percentages are and what I'm looking for, okay? So primarily you're going to want 3 things, okay? You want damage, you want speed, and you want range, okay? These are the 3 things you want. Damage, speed, range. Say it with me, damage, speed, range. Those are the 3 things you want. That is what you are primarily building into. So on the hunt, Swift Edge, and Sweeping Edge. So as you can see, this does plus 10% damage, this does plus 10% attack speed, this does plus 10% attack range, all right? So I'm putting up some like, just little clips from the last run that we did yesterday on Nightmare 4 when we beat it, and I was basically like shooting a gun with my sword. The range was so far, it was nuts, all right? So then when you start looking at, the second level of these, instead of 10%, it goes up to 33%. But like, see this, like lifesteal ratio, skip that. You don't need that. You do not need any lifesteal. Blade has it built in and you're totally fine, okay? Then edge extension, 1,000-fold slash. So that's his ultimate ability. You're never gonna use your ult, so you could pass this. Save your money. Do not get this. Blade dance. Okay, I guess I'll mention it. I'll try not to get too confusing, but there is a build where you can use your spin and do extra, and like there's like plus 600% damage. Feel free to leave a comment down below if this is like your primary build. I've used it a few times and it's decent, but I never put as much damage as I do just going with my sword, all right? But if you are gonna do the dash build, you wanna get some of these. So Blade Dance enhances Daywalker Dash, hitting enemies triggers spinning slash, stacking increases the number of spins. So when you dash, you'll just be spinning forever, all right? So this is the primary one that you want to look for. This, what is it, legendary? On the hunt, okay? Plus 140% damage. This right here is your bread and butter. When you see this, you buy this every single time. You want to find this, all right? But like I have no problem grabbing all these other little ones. They only cost 1, whereas this one costs 10. The second level, I think these cost 5. But yeah, you are on the hunt for this card, okay? Again, you could pass up on this, you could pass up on this. All right, so let's talk about if you are building the spin build, okay? You might want some of these for Daywalker Dash cooldown. There's some of these cards where you're eventually like, I don't need any more of these, all right? Like the range, I've been on the fence. Like I got a certain point yesterday where my range was so far, I'm like, I don't even know if I need any more range. Like I was able to like stand in the back corner and just hit zombies as they were coming out from all the entrances. So anyways, you wanna get a few of these. I think you can eventually stop. The Daywalker Dash damage, these are the ones that you are hunting for. Because that's what's going to do a ton of damage. So the Moonblades, I was obsessed. I was like a Moonblade builder in all the earlier levels, but once you get to Nightmare 4, it's just not doing enough damage from my experience. So you could typically pass on these. I often buy them on accident. Sometimes when I'm doing this this little spinny build. But yeah, so then there's upgraded cooldown. So then you see Daywalker Dash plus 140%, pretty dope. This one's really good too, the long range hunt. Like one of the issues with the little spin build, a lot of people are calling it the Beyblade build, so I'll just go with that. But when you're doing this Beyblade build, one of the issues is when you start spinning, you're so close, and like those big sentinel ones, they'll just kind of like, they'll just like one hit you. So what I was doing with this, like when you build up on this attack range, you can proc the spin, all right? So by dashing and hitting somebody and then start moving back because you can move in his spin ability. So like you wanna get some of these things with range. Like I was able to hit people pretty far, but like you have to go in and then back out because it has to hit somebody to start doing the spin. Again, Moonblades, you could pass up. This Daywalker Dash damage, this is another one you wanna get. This is the upgraded one. Moonblades, you could pass up. And then this right here. So no matter what you're building, all right, the sword build or the dash build, whatever, you want to get some of these. This is something that I just learned about just the other day, and it's very, very useful. So Sacrifice Sigil, chance to generate an Ankh upon defeating enemies, 15%. Ankhs pull nearby enemies towards center and repeat upgrades increase the chance. So basically, when you see like hordes of zombies, once you get a kill, there's a 15% chance to pull all the zombies around them into a circle. This is like a little mini crowd control. So like when a horde of zombies is like chasing you, once you kill one, it'll like pull everybody towards the middle and just kind of back them up away from you, and then just groups them up and you can do AoE damage on them. So from my experience, some people only get one of these. I like to get 2 of these, all right? 2, that's it. Because again, This is based on defeating enemies. In the earlier rounds, it's not gonna feel great if you don't have a ton of damage, but once you start getting kills really, really, really quickly, this thing is just proccing constantly, and there's just onks all over the screen. So I think you only need 2. If you wanna get cheeky, maybe get 3, but eventually, like, getting 3 is like a waste of money. Like, you can arguably use 1 the whole time, all right? So if you're doing the Beyblade build, this is the one you want, 600% damage. Again, I've just checked my damage output, and I've always done more damage with the sword build, all right? I have played with people who've cranked out a lot of damage, and maybe they just got a lot more of these than I did, but yeah. I still prefer the sword build. Okay, so then Moonblade, Moonblade flight speed, Moonblade, blah, blah, blah. Don't get those, all right? So now let's wrap this thing up with the general blessings. So, again, like, you just wanna go damage. You're just going damage, 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 damage. You don't need the survivability as much. You're going damage. I'll show you some of the most important survivability things in my opinion. So when I'm going and I'm just speed building, cause I do dip in some health and some damage reduction. So I'll go over that in a sec. So I'm gonna grab like pretty much every single power surge. Like this one only costs 1, then you got like 5 or whatever, okay? I pass up on the plus 30 health like 99% of the time unless I accidentally buy it. 100 health, I'll get it sometimes. Okay? Damage received, the Moonlight Protection. This, I believe, is the most important. When you get to the final Scarlet Witch boss fight, level 20, they can like one-shot you, and I think my saving grace is that I always get Moonlight Protection and I don't die that much in the final fight. And it's just because I'm constantly getting damage reduction. So minus 2.5% or minus 5%, these are very, very, very beneficial, all right? Like I've had people I'm playing with who have like 3,000 more health than me, and I'm surviving longer than them because I have damage reduction. So I believe the damage reduction is far more important than the health, but you do wanna stack health along the way. All right, so pick up some of these upgraded vitality boosts, like 185, that's decent. Again, like Power Surge plus 16. So one of the things with damage dealt, like if you're doing the Beyblade build or you're going like even kind of hybrid, like Power Surge is good because it's affecting your overall damage and not just your sword or your spin, if that makes sense, okay? These right here, they're kind of bait. I used to get them in the lower levels, but like you don't really need these. You're eventually doing so much AoE damage with your sword or your spin or whatever, that these are kind of useless. They're just a waste of money. I would rather you save your money and just get the other things, all right? Vitality boost, I'll pretty much always pick up the 450 when I see it, unless I'm like really hunting for more damage. Power Surge plus 35%, again, pass up on these. Restorative Respire, you don't need this. You do not need this for when you're out of combat, whatever. You do not need this. You are going to be regenerating health. Again, same thing with Vampiric Vitality. These are bait. The Full Moon thing, this is not that great. This is not that great. Like in Ultron's Battle Matrix, like getting these like extra percentage of like money is like really useful, but I started playing around with this like even in the earlier rounds, and like it just wasn't that great, right? Like it's not giving you enough, and the time between rounds until you get to like the boss fights, it's so quick that like, I don't know, you're not even having enough time to spend like the extra, it's not noticeable in any way, shape, or form. I kind of think this is bait as well, and I would pass it, all right? So as far as Blade's playstyle, you're going for damage, you're going for range, you're going for attack speed. Like you just want to try to keep your distance, and you want to, and this is with all heroes, you want to target the zombies in the hordes that can do like any kind of like range damage. So those green zombies that throw like the, the acid or whatever, and then the grenade ones, you want to wipe them first. You also want to keep your distance from like the flame ones by backing up, but I usually like to go in like depending on what's happening, sometimes I'll be going in like just like a circular motion and just trying to like surround them, and you kind of start memorizing all of the spawn points and everything. But eventually your range is so much, like I'll try to have some clips of it on the screen right now, but I like to sit in like this back corner-ish area, and you can pretty much just see every horde of zombie coming in, and you're fine. Once you hit round 15, they start spawning in the very far corner, like right where you spawn. So you gotta play a little bit off of that wall, but it's still like a pretty good place. So let's talk about all the boss fights. All the boss fights are fine. First you fight Namor, then you fight Scarlet Witch, then you fight Scarlet Witch and Namor, then you fight 2 Scarlet Witches. But the last 2 are the ones that are going to be annoying. Okay, they're like, I don't know what's going on. Feel free to tell me your ridiculous theories down in the comments below. I've been researching this nonstop. But level 15, when you fight Namor and Scarlet Witch, Namor does not come down from his invulnerable state forever, okay? There's a lot of theories. The prevailing theory is that Blade is bugging out with those squids. So those of you who don't know, you gotta hit the squids and then it takes down Namor's shield, or it does damage to Namor. And then after his shield goes down a certain amount, then he falls to the ground. So they say that it is Blade's spinning ability that is affecting these squids, all right? So if you kill the squids with the spin, that's what's affecting them. Me and my buddies have tried like 15 different methods, okay? And like, I don't know how true this is, but I do feel that when we're only attacking these squids from like really far range, because eventually Blade will do his little spin in between just regular primary fire attacks. So we were keeping our distance, just only hitting with our primary fire from a long range, and it still took us like 2.5 or 3 minutes, but I've had rounds where it takes us like 10 minutes. So 2.5 to 3 minutes is a lot faster. I still think it's ridiculously long. I don't think this is intentional. I see people say, oh, this is intentional, this is how it's designed, which I think is like the biggest troll ever. Like there is no way, I need to save this rant for another video. There's no way the devs designed it so round 15 is harder than the final level 20 boss. Like that is nuts. So anyways, as Blade, just try to keep your distance. I don't know for certain. Like I just kind of get frustrated when people just have these weird theories, but they say them as though they're fact. I've also had people telling me on Reddit that, oh, Namor drops when he hits like 95K, health bars left. That's not true. We've played duos a million times. He didn't drop until around 50K. We were playing trios last night. He didn't drop until like around like 80K or a little less. So maybe in squads of 4, he drops around 95K. But yeah, so that fight's frustrating. When you're going up against the Scarlet Witches, and this is just kind of overall, like you want to just keep moving when they're in their little shield form and popping the little stun bubbles. You want to keep moving, but you want to move. My buddy put it this way: you want to move like you're in a maze, right? You want to be going in and out and strafing. Sometimes just going around them in a circle, I have found is fine, because by the time they set their bubble, you're already like in a new position, all right? But anyways, Blade is going to be putting out a ton of damage. You can keep your distance, you're constantly regenerating health, and yeah, those are all the tips I got. Those are the cards that I think are the best, and yeah, hopefully this helps you beat Nightmare 4. If you wanna win, either go solo with Blade and get all this damage, or play with buddies and do like a group. Last night, for the first time ever, we did a trio of all Blades, and we got through it pretty fast. We beat it in, God, 45 minutes. I think we were like 1 minute off from the leaderboard. And we had some bad luck in certain things, and that was the one where we actually killed Namor in about 2.5 minutes. But anyways, Blade is your best bet. Here's the guide. But yeah, anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, ring that notification bell, because I do have some more Marvel Zombies content planned. All right, but anyways, other than that, have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.